Guys, do you remember that day when you get your first ever paycheck and your father sits you down and he's like, I know a lot about money and personal finances, and now I'm going to teach everything that life has taught me because now you're a grown-up person and let's talk about money together. Okay, I'll stop kidding now. Of course, this isn't America. This is India. Parents only teach three things to their children in these Indian middle class households. 1. Don't spend any money at all. 2. Pay your taxes. 3. FD kara lo. Except these, they are never going to be like, listen, please sit with me and I will teach you all I know about money and personal finances. I mean, forget finances. If you have to learn any kind of lessons or life lessons from your father especially, they are never going to sit you down. At least that's what happens in most of the households, because fathers and men in general, I think they are taught by the patriarchal society to be very, very less expressive. So if you have to learn any kind of life lessons from your fathers, you have to be like a sponge. You have to follow them around like a shadow. You have to observe them and have a very shrewd observation. You have to then pick from their life what you want your life to also have. And these three financial advices that I'm going to share with you, my father has never taught all of this to me directly. I have observed my father, followed him like a shadow, and hence learnt all of this. Hi guys, this is Upfront and Personal, and let's be upfront and personal about money together. There are three things that I actually learned from my father. Number 1, he taught me that money doesn't really have to change you. We often think that if we get a lot of money, then it's bound to change us, or we are supposed to change with money. I mean, that's how the world works. There's this beautiful quote from Johnny Depp. It says, money doesn't change people, it just reveals them. And that is so true. You guys, my father is a very simple man. He was brought up in a middle class family. He obviously had multiple siblings, and he comes from such humble roots. He is a self-made man who has gathered his worth from his education, his principles and his values. And as a family, my mother and I are proud of him because of that. And you know, he educated himself, he got a job because he had to raise a family. But just because he started earning money as a consequence, he didn't let it change him. Still, he is such a simple man. Of course, money elevates your financial status, but it doesn't really have to change the kind of person you are at your core. If, for example, you and your friend, you both got a promotion and a pay raise. He goes ahead and buys a car, but you feel like there is nothing big that you're saving for right now. There is no big or lavish financial decision that you feel like taking right now. Guys, you are not under a pressure to still go ahead and buy something big. Just because you're earning more money, it doesn't mean that you have to really spend it. Yes, if you feel the need of something, if you really want something, if you feel like your heart wants something, then go ahead and see if you can afford it, plan it, buy it. But just because of coming under peer pressure, or just because so many other people and families are taking the same kind of decisions while being on the same kind of or similar income level that you are, you don't really have to go out and make the same decisions. Do whatever your heart tells you to do. Do whatever is the need of the hour for you. And that's what I have learned from my father. He is a simple man, he is a grounded man, and he has always taken financial decisions when there was a need for it, when he felt a requirement for it, when his family needed something. I come from a very simple middle class family. My father is the sole earning member of the family. My mother is a homemaker, and now I have started earning for a little bit. When I started earning money, I started noticing my father very closely. I'm like, I have just started earning money and I have just become an earning member of the society from being a student for like 20 years. So now I'm like, I have this new financial independence and I have a card and all of those things. And I looked up to my father because he's the closest example I could follow. And I'm like, this man has been earning money for so many years and it hasn't changed him. It hasn't modified the core person that he is. If he thinks that 100 rupees thing is going to bring him a lot of happiness, he's going to go ahead and buy it. And he's going to be very content from it. If he still finds things that are worth 1,000 rupees very, very expensive. But if there is anything that would cost much more money but would bring a lot of more worth and purpose to his life and to his family, he's not hesitant in buying that. So I think that's the most core lesson that I have learned from my father, while obviously observing him. He didn't tell me that. Second piece of advice is, no matter how much money you have, you should always judge a thing and its price tag by asking yourself a question if this thing is worth it. I'll give you an example. Specimen number 1. This is a beautiful steel glass that I bought from this brand, which I am sure if you live in India you have heard of it, Chumbak. It's very beautiful. It's red. Red is one of my favorite colors. I got it from an exhibition. There was this exhibition in my office and everybody and all my colleagues were buying something or the other. And I bought like 1 or 2 things, but they were very inexpensive. And then I saw this and I thought I really want it and I want to buy it. And I bought it. Is it beautiful? Yes. But was the price tag worth it? This steel ka glass was 250 or something rupees. And I don't think that was worth it. Because no matter how pretty and no matter how aesthetically pleasing this is, it's still a steel glass. 250 rupees for a steel glass? I don't think that's worth it at all. Did I have 250 rupees in my purse to spare? I did. Still, even though I was not taking 250 rupees from somebody else, even though those 250 rupees were my hard-earned money, even though those 250 rupees and that kind of expenditure did not really alter my financial independence or my financial condition tremendously, but still, it does not hinder me from asking myself this question, that was this steel glass worth it? Now, you could be someone who maybe shops regularly in Chumbak. And you feel that everything in Chumbak is worth it and 250 rupees for this glass is actually less, then go ahead and buy it. It's very subjective. If you think it's worth it to pay 250 rupees for the steel tumbler, then yes, of course, that's your decision to live with. But even though I didn't think it was worth it, I still went ahead and made this purchase because I thought 250 rupees was a minuscule amount. It doesn't matter if it's 10 rupees. It doesn't matter if it's 10,000. You have to still ask yourself this question, that whether it's worth it. My father, as I said, he's a very simple man, but he's also a mathematics person, right? His thinking is very mathematical and logical. So he always asks himself this question, and I can see that he's always looking for sales. Whenever I buy something, he's always asking how much is it for. It's not because he's doubting my financial independence or because he has any kind of control or autonomy over the money I earn. He's not trying to exert that kind of right. All he's trying to do is to teach me somehow that whatever you buy, you need to have a need for it. It should have some kind of purpose that it needs to fill in your life. Of course, the term need is more of a fluid concept. This top, I didn't need it. There was no need for buying another top, but I really like the color and I wear it now all the time, maybe like 2-3 times a week. So was it worth it? Absolutely. So need is just not like you won't get it, you die, but something that fulfills your heart. So yes, your money is there to enable you to make financial decisions that can recover their worth. Not for stupid things like that. Still pretty cute though. It's $275 by the way. 275 what? Number 3. The third advice that he gave me, obviously implicitly, is whenever you're buying something, and whenever, especially if it's something that's big, something that's huge, whenever you're making a big financial decision, always introspect and just calculate in your head how much it's gonna cost you in the long run. How much is its actual cost? For example, We just got air conditioning done in our house, and being a very simple family, we never had AC before this summers. And when we were getting it, we were discussing about it, and whenever we will see some kind of AC on on Amazon or Flipkart or any other store, I'd be like, okay, this is 30,000, this is 40, this is 45, and my father is like, it's just not 40 or 45. Just think, you'll get a 40-45's AC. First of all, you also have to factor in the kind of maintenance and installation costs it will incur. Like, people will come in and people will buy extra parts, people will install it for you, and those charges will also be there. So while making a financial decision, all of these ancillary financial moves that you'll have to make to just be able to utilize that particular product, you also have to factor in, and then you have to take a decision if that fits in your budget or not. So an AC, which is basically 35,000 rupees, it's actually 37 because 2,000 is extra cost. Still fine. I was like, fine, that's also fine. If somebody is buying a 35,000 AC, the 2,000 cost they'll take care of, and that's okay that you have to think about it. But then he said something very poignant to me, and that was that don't just think that you have to buy an AC. Think that you have to pay that AC's bill for the rest of whatever time period that AC functions in your house. When you're buying an AC, you have to make sure that you have the financial capability to pay the electricity bill, the heightened electricity bill that will come every single month. I'm not saying you won't be able to afford it, or AC bill is something that you can't afford. I think it would be subjective. It depends on other people's financial conditions. All I am saying that you have to factor these things in before making a purchase. You have to be like, okay, I am getting this, but would I be able to maintain this? You know, like for example, if you're buying a really, like a Ferrari or something, like a huge car like Ferrari, I'm saying Ferrari because that's how far my knowledge about sports cars go. Like, I don't know anything beyond that. I think Ferrari is a good example. Let's go with Ferrari. So when you're buying a Ferrari, you don't just have to be like, it's costing me this much. I don't know how much, 1 crore, I'm not sure. Maybe let's just say it's a 1 crore car, okay? And you buy it, but then you also have to maintain it, because a single dent in that kind of car, that kind of luxury car, even a novice like me, even a stupid person like me who doesn't know anything about cars, can tell you that that particular dent, to mend that kind of dent, will run in thousands, probably lakhs, depending on how severe that is. Because you can't just go and get it fixed in a local service person. You have to make sure that if you have a service area in your city, can you pay that kind of maintenance charges? Can you afford to be mentally paranoid about that car for the rest of your life? And when I thought about it, I'm like, excuse me, he's so right. And I have applied that kind of principle in very, very small financial decisions as well. I'll give you an example. So whenever I'm buying sunscreen or moisturizer, and I'm not a person who uses a lot of skincare products, it's just sunscreen, face wash and moisturizer. Anybody who came here for financial advice, please don't log off. I'm not going into a skincare trivia zone. I'm just going to tell you that, for example, I have to buy a cream, right, that I apply twice a day. And that cream is 100 ml. And for me, I think I go through a 100 ml cream in like 2 to 3 months, because I need only very little, especially if it's a humid and hot month. And then I have to be like, okay, this is 100 ml and this is 200 rupees. Great. But then I might have to replace it after 3 months. So then I'll go look for something that's bigger. And even though I have to spend a little bit more money in that headache would be subtracted. But in case I don't really mind taking that headache of buying it or ordering it after 3 months, what I'll do is I'll buy it and then I'll stick with it, because that's affordable for me right now. I'm saying that decisions after taking into consideration all of these factors, two people can take very different decisions. But the wisest thing to do is to at least take these factors in consideration in the first place. Because otherwise, it's just an ill-informed and ill-thought of decision that you shouldn't have taken. So whether it's a small or a big financial decision, this is also something that I have learned from my father. And I think anybody who is coming from a middle class family or a middle class household would readily agree with me that your parents, they don't really differentiate between small and big financial decisions. ₹10 की सब्जी या फिर 5 लाख की गाड़ी, they think the same amount in both the things because they understand that pennies make pound. And I think that's a very beautiful lesson to learn from our parents. I understand, guys, that we live in an age and arena of malls where we get handsome salaries and we are fine with it. However, kind of lessons that a middle class family or that growing up in a middle class family can teach you, and that you're seeing your hard working, earnest father, noticing him, the kind of life lessons it can teach you, I don't think even IIMs can teach you that. So now go and follow around your father and see if you can learn anything from him or your mother, whosoever is earning in your family. These were the 3 pieces of financial advice that my father indirectly gave me, and now they are the building blocks of whatever I know about personal finances. I'll see you guys in my next one. Till then, like, share and subscribe. Please let my small channel grow, and I think only you will be able to help the growth of this channel. Bye.